All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over the PowerPoint presentations for Web Development and Design Foundations with HTML5, 8th edition by Terry Felke-Morris. And I am to Chapter 13. I'm in Chapter 13 of 14. Chapter 13 is on the use of search engines. We've got about 6 or 7 objectives here. Identify commonly used search engines and search indexes. Describe the components of a search engine. Describe web pages that are friendly to search engines. Submit a website for inclusion in a search engine or search directory. Monitor a search engine listing. Describe other website promotion activities. And finally, use the iframe to create an inline frame. Fairly short chapter. So let's start. Again, the stuff in here, this book, we look real quick on here, but I believe this book is about a 2015 publication. It is, well, it says 2017. I don't believe that because I used the book last year, but it was probably done at best somewhere in early 2016. And at that time, notice the market share that Google had. It's probably still somewhere up there. Bing maybe a little higher. I've never even heard of Baidu and Yahoo. But people, again, it's become a popular term. Google it. A search directory, as it says, maintains a hierarchical category of topics and places website listings into these categories. So I go out to Google and I type in sporting goods, and it's going to bring up that category. So I can type in a search term, or I can drill down into it. So maybe I want baseball, or maybe I want golf equipment. All right. Each website is reviewed by an editor before it's accepted into a directory. So in other words, Google and Bing have their own processes that they go through when a site is submitted to them to see whether or not it's going to get onto their search engine. By and large, the stuff that's done to do that is kept very private and confidential. What happens is you create a website and you send all of your website pages that you want the company to look through to Google, to Bing, to whatever, and they go through them and they do what's called spider them, where they've got software that goes through each page and it sees whether or not the information that you claim is in the website is in the website. The more honest you are, typically the better off you'll be. I know, as an example, and I've used this example before, it's a bit dated now, but after 9/11, there were a lot of companies that put 9/11 into the different tags as far as what their website was about, when their website had nothing to do with 9/11. Okay, you don't want to do that. What ends up happening is it spiders its way through. It's basically going through and doing a search, and it takes the results and it puts the results in some kind of a database. So a spider or a bot is a computer program that follows hyperlinks and walks your website. It categorizes your pages and stores the information about them in its own database. It can grab a lot of different information from your pages. Your title tags, your meta tags. We've only looked at one meta tag, and that's been for our character set, but there's other meta tags that you can use. It looks at the text in your headings. It looks at other text. It looks at your hyperlinks. Again, search engines have databases connected to them. We do go through databases in this program, in the AWD program. Here's the author's take on a database. A collection of information organized so that its contents can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. Most people say that, no, it's also got to be electronic. No, technically, if you've got a day planner where you write things into a book, that's a database. A database management system allows you to configure and manage a database more than anything else. A database management system allows you to insert things into a database, update existing things in a database, and delete existing things in a database. Some popular DBMSs include Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, and there's others. Search engine database contains information about the web pages. So the search engine database is Yahoo or Google or Bing's information about your site and all other sites. Search engine search form, again, as it says, most people are used to going out to Google and typing something in. The search form, as it says, is a graphical representation or a graphical user interface or GUI that allows you to request something. We've all used them before. The results typically will put you on something. All right, there'll be a list of results. Designing web pages for promotion. So the idea is, I want to be able to put, I've got a new sporting goods site. I want to be a competitor for Dick's Sporting Goods. I want to call it Jeff's Sporting Goods. So things that I should do. I should make sure that I've got good keywords in my site. We'll look at these more in class. Terms and phrases that people would probably use when they'd be searching. So, sporting goods. If I'm going to have golf equipment, let's say, we put that in there. Baseballs, basketballs, etc. Words or phrases that describe your website or your business. You create a list. Notice, include common misspellings. All right, maybe you've done this before. You typed in goggle instead of Google. Something like that. Descriptions. What's special about your site that would make someone want to visit? Notice it's very small, 25 to 30 words. Some search engines will display that description in the search engine results page, or SERP. Meta tags, you can put names in there, you can put content in there, there's a lot of stuff that you can put in. Meta is data about data. So meta tags go into the head section of a web page. Here is an example. Search engine optimization. Determine keywords, page titles, heading tags, text to include in keywords. You want to optimize, with search engine optimization. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm thinking in my head how I want to describe this, and it's not coming out very well. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to type in, I'm going to go into wikipedia.pedia.org, and I'm going to type in here SEO. And one of the things that will come out, well, I guess not. It's probably in there, but it's lower, but I'll put it in search engine optimization. There it is. So they define that as the process of affecting the visibility of a website or web page in the web search engine's unpaid result. So with search engine optimization, what you're trying to do is I want to make sure that if I go out to Google, and let's say that it's not out there, but let's say that I put in here, search Google, and I want to put in sporting goods, stores. All right? I want to make sure, forget about the near me part, sporting goods stores, that if I've got a new sporting goods, there's Dick's. Well, I want Jeff's to be up there. All right, so with search engine optimization, I want to move myself as high on the search engine results page as I can be. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And again, it's done through things like keywords, page titles, heading tags, text on pages, our hyperlinks, the page layout, our images, our multimedia. It's going to check everything. Okay? Now, you shouldn't actually submit your website to a search engine until it's ready to go live. In other words, if it's under construction, you shouldn't submit it. The other bad thing about this is you submit it, and there's a standard way of doing it, but if you look on the bottom bullet here, allows several weeks. You've got no guarantee that if I send something in this morning, April 26th, 2017, if I send something in at 7 o'clock this morning, I can pretty much be assured that by 5 o'clock, it won't be done. It might be a month or more. So I keep going out and I keep going into that search engine and putting in the terms to see if eventually I get put out there. How can you get preferential placement? Notice Google's AdWords. Kind of a neat concept where you agree to put ads on your site, and depending on how you have that set up, either when people click them or when they go out to the other site, you get a little bit of remuneration. You get a little bit of payment for it. Cost per click, as it says, the price you're charged if you've signed up for a paid sponsor and a visitor clicks a link to your website. CPM, cost per impression, your cost for every 1,000 times your ad is displayed on a web page, whether it's clicked or not. CTR is the click-through rate, the ratio of the number of times an ad is clicked to the number of times an ad is viewed. All right. Site mapping page, as it says, used by visitors and accessed by search engines. Every site of any size should have a site map. The site map is typically, you might have a link on the bottom of each page that says site map. And if a user clicks it, it has basically, some site maps are just a list of hyperlinks that have how to get to different things on your website. With some packages, when you create site maps, you can create them using XML also, but typically XML site maps are used by search engines, not by human beings. Web analytics is an interesting concept. It's basically being able to look at the data and extrapolate or get information out based on that data. You may have heard of the term data mining. Does it mean the same thing? It's a similar type of an idea. So how do you do that? Well, you can analyze your logs. You can see how many people visited you. What pages did they visit? How long did they stay there, etc. Link popularity, rating determined by a search engine based on the number of sites that link to a particular website. Social media optimization, or SMO. Creating content that's easily shareable. Many companies today, probably it's a good thing that I'm 60 years old and probably within 10 years, if not sooner, I'll retire. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching right now is slowly becoming antiquated. There are a lot of companies today that are not even creating web pages. Rather, they just have a link on Facebook to their site, for example. And it's not just Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Pinterest, it's Dig, it's Reddit, it's LinkedIn, it's YouTube, etc. And there's other things. You probably have seen these QR codes, like these right here. All right. There's affiliate programs. There's banner ads. There's all sorts of things. There's reciprocal link agreements. Those are kind of neat. Maybe you've heard about those. Maybe you've done this where you go out to, you want to find some flight information. Let's say I'm taking a trip, I don't know, to San Antonio, Texas. So I go out and I go into Google and I type in flights to San Antonio, Texas. And once I get onto the site that I want to get to, there might be an ad there for hotels in San Antonio, Texas, rent-a-cars in San Antonio, Texas, where there's reciprocal link type of agreements. All right, the QR, again, I've already mentioned. And the chapter ends by talking about inline frames. An inline frame is also called a floating frame. It allows you to do the equivalent of embedding a web page inside of a web page. It's not typically a whole web page, it's a smaller page. You do it using an iframe. So let's see if I can do one of these. It's been a while since I've done it, so if I screw it up, please bear with me. So what I'm going to do is, in fact, let's do this. I'm going to go out to YouTube, and I'm going to type in there, Jeff Scott, Rankin Technical College. This is wrong, it's not 75 videos, it's a lot more than that. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to look at one of my C# videos, okay? All right, so, got this right here, there it is. That's me in another class. And if I go to share, I think it is, and I go to embed, I can grab that right there, particular URL. So I went to YouTube, and I went to share, embed, and for the URL. So now I want to come here to my website, and I did this in an earlier chapter today. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this. Okay, so let's take a look at what this is. I've got an iframe that'll have a width of 560 pixels, a height of 315 pixels. There's the YouTube presentation that it's going to have. It'll have no border around it, and it will allow for full screen manipulation if I want to do so. So that was all generated for me. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to run. And there inside of my web page is my video. All right, you all have a handout in front of you. What I decided to do was I'm not going to give you another. All right, so there's an example. We're just about finished with our chapter here. So the only thing that's left is to go over our objectives again. Again, there were about 7. We identified some commonly used search engines. We talked a little bit about Google, Bing, and Yahoo. Basically, Google is it. We described the components of a search engine. We talked about how to design web pages that are friendly to search engines. Talked a little bit about how to submit a website for inclusion. The idea of spidering your way through a site, which is what the website companies will do, search engine companies. How to monitor a search engine listing. How to describe other promotion activities, and I didn't spend much time. And I showed you a simple example of an iframe. So that is it for Chapter 13. So I've got one chapter left. All right, and I'm going to do that probably tonight. And that one chapter that's left will be an introduction to JavaScript. So as I said, I'll be back with that chapter later on today.